In my daily life, I work around a lot of college students and I look at a lot of different college programs, be it flight and a lot of various things. I'm also a master's student, so I do a lot of college-y stuff and I look at a lot of different things from a college viewpoint. So when I start looking at programs that do perform and programs that do not perform, I saw where the number one non-performing program is, do you know? It's anthropology. That probably comes as a shock to you, right? Probably. So anthropology is kind of makes sense to me because it's basically a degree where you spend 4 years studying what people did in the past, and then you graduate and you go join them in the struggle. That's that's anthropology, right? That's pretty much it. You're like, according to the ancient tribe's customs, I should probably move back in with my parents. That's usually what ends up happening, doesn't it? Now, another one that I saw in there, which really does not come as a shock to me, was fine arts. Didn't shock me even a little bit. I got a friend of mine who's got a fine arts degree. She enjoys her time at Starbucks. Kind of makes sense though. Think about it. You get a fine arts degree. Your final exam project could very well be sitting in a boutique for $45 next to a candle named Autumn Regret. And that's perfectly acceptable in that degree. You're likely going to be working in a coffee shop, but your parents already knew that. Performing arts, also on that list. So that's a degree. I have a friend of mine that has a performing arts degree. And really what the degree means is you are ready to audition a lot. That's kind of your career. You're going to make a career out of auditioning. You're not really ever going to get a job. You're just going to get 7 to 10 emotional experiences per cast. Pretty much it. But don't let this shock you. Your parents already knew that. Now, the computer engineering one, though, that's a shocker to me because that used to be the safe one. That was the one your parents could not wait to say. That's the ones where your parents would run to church and brag. Little Timmy is studying computer engineering. Now, they're at church. They're not as braggy. It goes more like this. Yeah, little Timmy's home again, but he fixed the Wi-Fi. So I guess we're going to keep him around. Another one I saw on the list was early childhood development. Now, that's unfair. That's extremely unfair because they are about the only people on the planet who can reason with a 3-year-old with a juice box and a sword. It's a skill, and I'm not sure they're taken care of well enough for it. Job market is making a mess, especially for the early childhood development group, because they are basically overqualified babysitters with student loan debt. So it's no good. It's unfortunate. Tell you what else I'm surprised by. The people that I interact with that are coming in to look at now that they've finished college, they come in and they're like, hey, now that I have my degree in blah, 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 I have found that no one is hiring in blah, 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 blah. So I was wondering if I could shift over and get into flying planes. Typically the blah, blah, blah is business, accounting, or marketing, which I thought was interesting. But what I'm hearing is basically you're going in as an intern, you're making nothing, you're getting to 45, you're feeling like you're about to climb, there's nowhere left to climb because marketing becomes sales and sales becomes knocking on doors. And that might not be what your skill set is. Unfortunately, that's all that's left with your degree. The other thing that I'm hearing when students come in that have these degrees, they're getting AI'd out. Meteorology is not getting that way just for television meteorologists, people who did a lot of TV like I have. What's happening is the companies just don't have any money to pay because turns out people are watching podcasts instead of television. Who knew? Well, everyone but the TV companies who are still refusing to admit that podcasts are happening and people are watching them. The careers that are being AI'd out right now, I mean, I worked with a design team on a project and we were doing a thing and we've been working with them for like months and months and months and months and months and months and months. Almost 2 years of months, a lot of months. One day somebody was like, you know what? Somebody on another team said, I bet I can make this do this in far less time because we've been at this for 2 years trying to get it done. And we were like, all right. And here in about 45 minutes, with a little work, obviously a lot of work with AI, but a few different apps, they created, caught us up, and far surpassed the design team that had been slow playing this for now 2 years. It was pretty darned impressive. So in other words, we replaced a lot of bills with one button push, really, because that's what happened. So just think about all that when you start looking at careers. I saw where Anthropology, back on Anthropology, had something like a 50% underemployment rate. Now, if you're not familiar with underemployment, it's a really polite word. It's similar to pre-success. Same thing. You're not really unemployed, but you're temporarily working at a place where your anthropology degree is mainly used to observe the mating rituals of the folks at the self-checkout line. At least you got the degree. And your parents are proud. That's cool. Hopefully they'll help you pay for it. The advice from the economists are simple. You really need to network. Network? That's the solution? Spent 4 years studying ancient civilization, and now my future depends on my roommate's cousin who knows a guy at a marketing firm. College used to be about finding yourself. Now it's about finding someone that later in life will return your emails. That's really what it's about. That's where we live right now. Becoming a pilot may be the safest bet. Now, it's an up and down business, it always has been, but it's a skill that when you have it, money tends to find you. Opportunity finds you, and that opportunity's not cheap. It's expensive, and the people that find you pay accordingly. When was the last time you were on a flight and you heard the pilot say, "Ladies and gentlemen, we're sorry for the delay. Our pilot majored in sculpture, so he's very passionate about this landing. We hope to be on the ground inside the next hour." Well, you haven't, because anthropologists don't become pilots, because they got to pay off that debt first, and that's hard when you're working at Starbucks. I was reading a story yesterday about Saint Martin. That's what we usually call it. They call it more like Saint Martin. Saint Martin. We're more like St. Mark. So it's a beautiful island, beautiful blue water, rich people, linen suits, really pretty boats. Doesn't have the afternoon sandstorm like they have in Aruba. But it is two countries. I think it's the French and the Dutch. I get that confused sometimes, but I think I'm right. The French and the Dutch, and it splits down the middle. And I've done excursions on both, but I've never crossed over during an excursion, which I'm sure you can. It's an interesting time over there. If you've never been, go check it out. I've only stayed there a couple days at the time. I've never spent any long periods of time. I've done that in St. Thomas. I've spent a fair amount of time in gaps, 2 and 3 week periods. But I've done that in Aruba, but I haven't done it in St. Martin. I do like the place. I tend to buy watches when I get there. I don't know why. The place inspires me to buy timepieces. However, there is something going on that's interesting there. If you've never been, you have to fill out a embark, disembark form. That's just kind of the way this stuff goes these days. You just fill it out. It's not that complicated. Usually, they will give you a pencil on the plane, or somebody has a pen on the plane, or there's one in the seat back behind you. And you take it, you fill it out, and you can fill it out for a couple people. Usually, I'll have somebody fill it out for me. My girl fills it out or whatever. And you can fill it out for all the people in your party, too. if you're not, if you're not bringing in things you shouldn't, that's when it gets wonky. But if you're not doing anything stupid, then yeah, it's not hard to do. All you got to do, fill it out, you move on about your business. Little form. On the cruise ships, you have to do it too. They usually bring you in a room. It's not that complicated. It's completely free. Again, it's free. Now they've decided they're going to do it online, which I think is super fantabulous. Now here's the problem though. If you click on the wrong website, some third-party sites are popping up. They look official. This is super smart. They look official, real official, with government font and all, tropical backgrounds, some palm trees in the corner, for effect. Welcome, traveler. For the unheard of low price today, we can fill out your disembark form for $139.99. It's a processing fee. There's so many people that are doing it. The government had to go, wait, stop. This can't be legal. Like, this system is broken. There are no fees associated with this form, which is almost never heard from government mouths because they have fees for everything. It's only one official website. That's what they're arguing, and it's free. And it takes just a few minutes, and you can do it on your phone as soon as you land, blah, blah, blah. Here's the thing, though. These lookalikes are sitting right at the top at the sponsored section. You know how easy it is to click that. So now you pack in. You know how stressed you get. You're all excited. My mother's flying in here in a couple of days, and she's telling me today I got everything planned. She's coming on Monday. So I got everything planned out. I got everything set aside. I got exactly 3 ounces of toothpaste. I said, Mom, you know what I use in this house? She said, what? I said, toothpaste. She said, get out. I said, no, I do. So you don't really have to have 3 ounces of toothpaste. I got some here for I got a whole new tube. She was like, you know what? I could leave this at home. Then she was all like, well, I have 3 ounces of lotion exactly and no more. I was like, Mom, I live in the desert, so we have to have lotion and lots of it. I got it by the 55-gallon drum in here. I got it in 14 different smells. We have a lot of lotion here. It's dry. She was like, well, I guess I can leave that 3 ounces out. I said, yeah. She said, now, the other thing I got was exactly 3 ounces of shampoo. You know what I said? Girl, you should go on and bring that, because we ain't gonna be none of that around here. We don't need no shampoo. We got a bar soap, girl. Better bring that dang shampoo. 3 ounces too, not 3.1. They get all moody about it. You know how it is. You're stressed. The airline, they're complicit too. They don't mean to be, but they're all like, make sure you fill out your form before you travel. Google it. Then all of a sudden you hit the first link. Boom, $139.99. Now you're mad. You're like, oh, that was a lot of money. But you're like, okay, I'm paid. Good. It was convenient. It was worth it. It's free form, so it might not have been worth it. Talk about how awesome St. Martin is. That's me looking all buff. Don't act like it. Well, that hat was cool when I was wearing it. Yeah, and the fanny pack? I don't want to hear it. That's a sick fanny pack. St. Martin. They spelled it funny too. So imagine this. This is our viewpoint. We are sitting at a bar. We're together sitting at this bar. We're looking out from the bar. We see this hotel. Sun's out. Beach is perfect. It's perfect all the time. It's unbelievable. This bar is throwing beers at you at an incredible price. Probably not, like $8 a piece, but who cares? You're steadily drinking because the ocean's all around you. And when you look at that hotel that's in front of you, the ocean between you and the hotel is full of people, but not completely full. You got plenty of room to play in it. And just a heads up, if you've never been, the women don't really wear their tops. The European women, it's not really their thing. So they're walking around. You got to be careful taking pictures too. Let me just tell you, the other pictures I had, I couldn't post them because then I wouldn't be on YouTube no more. They'd be banned. And I wouldn't blame them. Christian folks shouldn't be seeing that kind of stuff. Now, the thing about St. Martin, if you're looking right now and you see the picture that I painted, the sun's out, the beach, that beautiful hotel, to the right of that beautiful hotel is a barrier. There's a road and then there's a barrier. That barrier says, danger, do not stand on this barrier, jet blast. Okay, so right there, that runway, there's a jet runway on the other side of that fence. So what people do, stand on the railing there. When the jets hit the thrusters, it throws them back in the water. I think that's stuff of legend, but I think people are probably stupid enough to try it. I was not. They put signs up and everything, so clearly we can't get enough. Now, while you look to the right, you saw the runway. When you look back to the left, you realize that's almost ground level. So while you're sitting at this bar, you can look into the windows of an airplane that's about to land almost eye to eye. Yeah, it's really, really cool. The planes just keep coming. These are the small ones. The big ones come too, the big full-size jets. It is really fun. And yes, if you're scanning that picture, I've already scanned it for things that shouldn't be in it. Unless you're European, in which case they should always be in it. We're back on the form that's free that it's costing $139.99 for. Now, is this a scam? That's the question. That's the question the article's posing. And the answer is obviously. What if, and hear me out, what if this is not a scam? What if it's capitalism in its purest form? I'm talking Eminem kind of pure, rock, cut, purity. Maybe the purest we've ever seen. Because technically, they're not hacking you. They didn't break into your bank account. They didn't forge your passport. They didn't steal any of your numbers. They're not offering a service that they're not delivering. You can fill out the form on their website, which is prettier than the one that the State Department has. Got a little better vibe to it, more palm trees and such. But for that convenience or panic, which is really mostly panic, you're paying $139.99. And I love the official quote from the State Department, which is, the sites aren't necessarily fraudulent. Because they're not. It's capitalism. And let me tell you why the State Department's mad. Because they didn't think about it. That's why they're mad. Let's do some quick math. 395,000 stayover guests per year, over 1 million cruise passengers. So let's rough math it, 1.5 million forms. If 10% of those get filled out on the fancy website, really bad math says that's an easy $1 million. And my guess is that 10%, more like 30%. And that's why the State Department's angry, because they realize they lost a lot of money. Because somewhere in Jersey, about 10 years ago, there was a dude going, you know what? I bet people don't read. I'm going to build me a website. Looks all tropical. Stick it on Google. That's not hacking. It's understanding humanity. No stealing. They marketed. Government hates competition. When you start stealing, it makes them mad. They invented processing fees. The DMV will charge you $20 just to walk in. But they call that civic responsibility, don't they? No, we're just keeping the town paid for. That's not what's happened here. You're getting full-fledged scam because a guy with a beach background did it. And the government said, no, we don't appreciate this. I'm not defending it. I'm just saying it's bold. It's like opening a bottle of water while you're standing right next to the river. Look at the river. Yes, it's free. But does anyone really want to bend over to get it? No. Gulp, 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 gulp. It's that. That's all it is. It's business. The psychology is brilliant. Airlines say you gotta have it now, which creates urgency. What happens when urgency is created? We lose all focus. Our brains completely go away. We end intelligence. We all start acting emotionally. We all know that. The minute someone says, you must do this immediately, your brain goes, whew, let me shut off. Somebody grab a credit card right now. It's not fraud, it's timing. Sponsored ad part? Well, that's the chef's kiss. They didn't hide, they paid to be first. Can't call that a scam. It's called SEO. Look it up. Now, I don't want you to misunderstand me. I'm not condoning them stealing $139.99 per person for a free form. And if it was me, I'd be mad. And you know I'd be on the phone with my bank just like you would be, acting like I've uncovered some international espionage. But deep down, I wouldn't want to, but I'd have to admit it. They didn't force me. I volunteered. Because I was in such a hurry to go sit on the beach. That's what happened. I got scammed out of my shorts. Obviously. It's also a masterclass in understanding how humans behave under travel pressure. Think about that. We do stupid stuff. That's why we'll go sit through a timeshare. That kind of stuff. Oh, sit through the timeshare, we'll give you a free round of golf. You're like, hell yeah. My wife and I can't wait to play. You get home, right back to the condo after you spent the last 8 hours telling them no on the timeshare until you finally bought it. Then when you get home, you gotta tell your wife how excited you are to go play golf with her. And she's all like, but I don't play golf. And you're all like, dang it, I don't either. Well, I have great news. We now own a timeshare. Meanwhile, somewhere in St. Martin, there's a government employee going, dang, you know, we could have charged $19.99, called it premium processing, and made a killing. That's the tragedy. It's not the $139, it's the missed opportunity. I tell you, if I'm gonna get scammed out of something, if you put a palm tree logo on it and act like that it's vacation vibey, probably gonna panic more than I should, and I'm gonna overspend. And I'm okay with that. I discovered the islands in the late 90s, early 2000s, and in 2000 I was working so many hours at my particular job. It became sort of a hideaway. I was making a lot of money that I didn't need, so I wound up over there and I was staying weeks at the time, and I was drinking a lot, and I was just enjoying life for those 2 or 3 weeks. I was living in Michigan at the time, so I was going back to freezing cold temperatures, so it really became an oasis for me. Now, I live in Phoenix, so I don't really run into those cold temps. Clearly, not like I used to. I contend that we all go on our phone, boop, boop, boop. We roll through, we see a headline. We mentally map out whatever that is. We probably say something smart. Then we bounce on off to the next one, right? Well, I tend to do the same thing. The headline reads, Britney Spears suffers wardrobe malfunction in revealing dining room dance video. You know, if you're filming dance content next to a china cabinet, you're living life so far ahead of most of us, I can't even afford to question that. Could be more to it. How am I gonna know? I didn't read it. The headline reads, her fake Tinder profile went viral, and it reveals a big problem with online dating. If your dating strategy involves undercover journalism, I think you're missing the plot. I'm not sure you understand why we're here. Could be more to it. I don't know. I didn't read it. I kept scrolling on, and I got to this one. The headline reads, why is NBC reportedly ready to fire Tony Dungy from Sunday Night Football? He's on the desk. He's been there for 15 years or so. He's been there forever. Now, I'm certain it has nothing to do with the fact that he hasn't said anything interesting or relevant since 2014. Could be wrong. There's probably more to it, but I didn't read it. The headline reads, Amazon makes bold move to steal Costco and Walmart customers. Now, if your idea of stealing customers is someone showing up at my house at 9:30 at night wearing pajamas and bringing me toilet paper out the back of a Subaru, I think it's less business strategy and more suspiciously convenient. Could be more to it. I wouldn't know, I didn't read it. Kept on scrolling. Next headline reads, struggling with enlarged pores? This is how a dermatologist suggests shrinking them. Girl, I don't need smaller pores. I need better lighting and more forgiveness. Could be more to it. How would I know I didn't read it? Thank you for spending time with me today. I appreciate you coming back. There could be more to it. I wouldn't know. I didn't read it. Always a fun time. It's my mom's favorite segment. Again, thanks for spending time with me. My name is Bud Ford, and we're at Bud Ford Comedy. Have a great day.